I'm just gonna make sure, like, you ready for this? You comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you almost died.
Yeah, so I'm 21 years old. I'm in college, you know, playing beer pong, partying, having a good time, doing some studying. And I'm getting these recurring headaches for a period of like 3 or 4 days. When I would work out or something like that, I would get this like big throbbing headache. And I had never experienced anything like it. So I go to urgent care and they, you know, run me through the basic check. Everything seems fine. They say, why don't we do an MRI just in case? So I go do the MRI, you know, sit in the little machine, not freaking out because at this time I'm 21 years old, I'm invincible. And then I'm driving home, gonna go hang out with some friends, and on my way home I get a call. And it's the doctor who had ordered the MRI. And the doctor says, are you driving right now? I said, yeah. She goes, okay, turn around.
Yo, what up? It's the Pale Goblin, aka Leche Lorenzo, aka Dairy Potter, aka the real Skim Shady. What up?
I don't use a cup when I milk chug. I just glug glug on a milk jug.
So I hit the nearest exit, right? Turn around, call my parents, hey, I'm not sure what's going on. This is what they said. I'm gonna spend the night at the hospital. I guess I'll meet you there. You know, they start doing a bunch of tests, basic stuff, blood pressure, then it gets a little bit more intense. They're putting like electrodes on my head and taking readings and spinal tap, like literally pulling fluid out of my spine to go test it, blood samples. You know, wake up the next morning, they're like, yeah, we don't know. There is something in my head. It might be something, it might be nothing, and hopefully I don't die. For about 2 years, there was no change, no new information, right? We're just wondering, living. I'm getting regular scans to see what's going on, if there's any change. One day there is a change. We go to the appointment, follow up for the scan, which I've done a bunch of times, and this time they deliver the news that, hey, this has grown. Well, basically, long story short, it's brain cancer. And the fact that it's grown visibly on a scan means that it's going to continue to grow unless you do something about it.
Mind open wide on my eyes, there's a blindfold life on the line, walking high on a tightrope. Walking high on a tightrope.
Everything I was doing felt like the fourth quarter. So when I was gonna have surgery, they're literally shaving my head, cutting open a big horseshoe shaped thing right here, peeling back the skin, and then like taking basically a saw, like a buzz saw, and cutting a big circle out of my skull, and then going in and taking out a chunk of my brain that's 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters approximately.
My house and my car and my music, I own it. 2018, got my dome split open.
Oh my God, like surely that's the big culmination, right? But they let you recover for a couple months and then it's time to start talking about radiation. And then you go through radiation where they're literally shooting laser beams at your head and hoping that they don't damage the good parts of your brain. And you're going, okay, well, this has got to be the culmination, right? Like, and then you get through that, and then it's like, okay, well, it's time for 6 months of chemo. And so everything all along the way, I guess you're just kind of taking it one piece at a time. Wrapped all of that up like 4 years ago or so. And ever since that point, I've been kind of back to where I was before, which is, we don't really know. No doctor's ever looked at me or looked at one of my scans and said, you're cancer free. The problem is, on an MRI, scar tissue from the surgery and from radiation looks the same as tumor cells. So you cannot actually tell by taking an MRI of my brain whether there is brain cancer, that I'm going to continue going in, getting scans, you know, once or twice a year, and looking at those and saying, did it get bigger from the last one? And if no, that's great news, but that's as good as the news gets. It's never just going to say, this is a non-issue, you never have to worry about this again. So I am currently living healthy, I'm living a normal life. It has not grown. Every time I get a scan and there's no change, that gets me a little bit closer to feeling like, well, maybe this thing will just never come back.
Sing it with me now. I might die tomorrow, but I move your body, move your body, move your body. I might die tomorrow, but I'm living right now.
You'll see absolutely moments of pain that I turn the lens to and I focus on, as opposed to looking away from it, which a lot of other people might do, because a lot of people will run away from scary things and they'll run towards happy things. And I think that's a pretty bad way to live your life, because you should be experiencing what's actually happening, which is both good and bad.
But in the day I just twist and I bend and contort all the people and places and images, or I relive the moments that I wish I could delete, and I'm chasing all the wins while I'm running from defeat.
Going to the operating room was definitely one of the hardest experiences of my life. I had my sister there, my parents there, my partner there. I got my gown on and got all ready for the procedure. It was time to leave from that room and go to the operating room, and I said goodbye to all 4 of those people. And silently, none of us said it, but we all knew that could have been it. That could have been the final goodbye. So having to face that definitely changed me in, I think, both good and bad ways. But that changed my life. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I think I still make some music that's just dumb and fun and goofy.
I walk in and they all notice, shoulders wide and striding, posing, drinking, vibing, gliding, token. She got a caboose and I got the locomotion.
And I think that's important. I think there's a huge place in this world for that type of art. But I also absolutely make music that's inspired by the fact that I faced mortality, and that I think that everybody is facing it. The reality is that everybody today is living right on the brink of death, and they're going to do the same thing tomorrow and the next day if they're so lucky. Not everybody has to face that, though.
I'm trying to find happiness while I'm still here. Maybe that's enough, the simple fact I'm still here. Like I'm trying to fill a pool with a hole in my hose. One day I'll take the plunge while I'm holding my nose.
For me, I had to face that. A lot of other people have had near-death experiences, and they probably can relate to that part where it's just a true fact and you can't look the other way. But most of the people in my life, I think, haven't yet had an experience like that. And as a result, they don't really think about their own mortality on a day-to-day basis. That can be nice. That can be less stressful. But I do think that having faced mortality, I think, benefits me and allows me to look at life from a different perspective, and one in which I want to prioritize things and take advantage of this moment that's happening right now.